Today's episode of South African Food Stories is powered by F&B Business. From foot in the door to an unstoppable franchise footprint, let F&B expert industry advisors help you grow and optimize your business. They've got a game plan full of expert-led support and tailored solutions. F&B Business, because help changes everything. An authorized financial services provider and credit provider. SA Food Stories is proudly supported by Bidfood, food service distributor and trusted supply partner to thousands of customers across South Africa. Bidfood connects chefs, kitchens and food businesses to the products, expertise and inspiration they need to succeed. With a deep passion for food service, people and partnerships, Bidfood goes beyond supply to build lasting value across the industry. Great food stories start with the right partner. Every generation has its storytellers, not the loudest voices, but the ones who know how to make people feel something. The ones who understand that stories don't only live in books or on stages, but around tables, inside kitchens, and in the moments we all share. And when creativity in any form is paired with entrepreneurship, it becomes more than expression. It becomes a vehicle for change. But no story is built alone. Behind every creator is a partnership. Someone who steadies the vision, challenges the ego, and holds the center when the momentum threatens to fall apart. Today's conversation is about storytelling in all its forms, through music, through food, through business, through love. And today we're sitting down with Jay Something and Cordelia. Guys, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to talk to you today.
What an intro.
Yeah, that was
Come
good.
on.
You're very good at this.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Such a pleasure. So most people watching know you as Micasa. But there is a secret side to you that maybe our audience do understand and do know your love for food and your love for the culinary adventure. Can you take us back to, let's start with when you were young and your parents and how they were involved in the food industry and how that grew for you, what that did in your life?
Yeah, my father and my mother both worked in the food and beverage space. My dad was a phenomenal food and beverage manager for several hotel groups around the world. It's actually the reason why how I ended up in South Africa. He was tasked to do the reopening of the Fish River Sun in the Eastern Cape, which was then a Sun International property it was beautiful. And it was my first home. I arrived in South Africa when I was 7 years old, and we lived in the staff village of the hotel, and that's kind of where or how I ended up here. And then from there, my mom worked at a little diner just down the road. It was called the Fish River Diner. And then later on, my mom then opened her own restaurant called Butler's in Port Alfred, a small little town in the Eastern Cape, which was my dining room after school. It was where I would go after school and do my homework and play the CDs that she had in the restaurant and spend my time until it was time to go back home with her as she knocked off from work. And yeah, that was, and I think that growing up, food, I'm born in Portugal, food, time around the table was always something that my mom still to this day, still insists on. She always reminds us how the food is, the table
is the altar
of the home, and we've carried that with us now. So it's always been a tool for coming together, food, whether it's coming together with self or coming together with others. That's always what food has been about.
Food is a love language.
Totally.
Yeah.
I want to add to that. I want to say that food can be a love language. I think that a lot of people, and that's what we really thrive to do with what we're doing, is to actually remind people that, hey, food can be what we call a love language, a way to connect, if you use it for that, And I think that a lot of the times food is just something you need to do so that I can carry on with my life, which,
Yeah, that's not fulfilling your soul. That's just feeding a need.
Yes.
And I think a lot gets lost along the way when we just see food as fuel. Yeah. So we can't go further without pausing on how you got into the music industry. What struck the chord for you, for want of a better description?
It's so much I guess it's so much easier to reflect on these type of things and then be able to like say, oh, that was that moment, you know? But I mean, it was multiple moments, you know? It might have been my uncle who used to collect vinyls and then used to take all the vinyls and record them onto tape and write them all neatly. You know, I remember the Tracy Chapman tape that I had was one of my first tapes listening on a Walkman. And it might have been me getting my first little piano that they bought for me and then playing in front of everybody. You know, it might have been a song that I heard by Rui Veloso, which was a Portuguese artist that maybe I always wanted to sing. You know, it might have been when I first heard Michael Jackson, and it might have been. But when I look back at it, it was a party that I attended in Johannesburg when I came here, finishing varsity. I did a marketing degree in Stellenbosch, and then I landed up in Joburg on a friend's couch, a cousin's couch, trying to figure myself out. And I attended this party at the Radisson Hotel just opposite the Gautrain. And there was a DJ playing, and I asked the DJ if I could sing over the beats that he was playing.
Yeah.
And when I reflect now, I'm thinking like, what an odd thing to do. But for some odd reason, you know, define it or call it what you will, you know, I guess we have so much power in our minds, you know, and I think that for me, it was a moment that I look back on and I'm like, why on earth did he say yes? And he said yes, so I picked up the microphone and he was DJing, and it was a soul candy party, so it was a really cool party. You know, everybody was super cool, and then I would sing whatever I could think of over the beats that he was playing, and then another kid arrived, put a bag down, and took a trumpet out of his bag. You know, even when I say it, I'm like, no, this is a lie, you know, but it's what happened in my life. And he asked if he could borrow the mic from me. So I would, you know, sun is shining, weather is sweet again. And then I'd hold him the mic and he would, ba-da-da-da-da-da-ba-ba-ba. And so we kind of just carried on freestyling. And then after this show, which lasted about, 60 minutes or so, we had everybody around us and everybody asking us for pictures. And, oh my God, can we get your album? And I'm like, I don't even know these guys. Like, we literally just met in that moment. And there we were taking photos with people. And then for 3 months after that, the DJ, it was Dr. Duda, who is and was at the time, and a phenomenal South African producer who produced for many greats. And the trumpeter was Moti, and the three of us are now Micasa, and we've been at it for the last 15 years. And 3 months after that day, I begged Duda if we could get into the studio and record one song just to see, and we recorded These Streets. Yeah. And so began this idea of good morning to the world out there, Sanbonani. And then fast forward, here we are in front of you.
Yes.
And
wow.
I so many points along the way as life is, but I would say that was one of the very instrumental moments in my life.
It's been a theme in the show. Everybody we have interviewed, we always talk about looking back and connecting the dots, and that is life. And we go along feeling disconnected and not knowing where we're going, but if you listen for those glimmers and you listen for those callings, it's amazing what happens.
Yeah, reflection is a powerful tool.
Yeah,
as long as we carry with us the things that make us feel better and not heavier.
That's the key. And I think from what you were saying when you were talking about just getting up there and singing as your connection to the audience, and I think that must have switched on something for you.
Yeah, it did. I used to ask my mom when I was young, I'm talking like maybe from the ages of 8 or 9, I used to say to her, do you want me to sing for you? And she would say yes. And then I would say 5 rand. And then she would gift me the 5 rand and I would sing something from the Bee Gees or whatever I was into at that time, And so I was always wanting, obviously as kids do, I think wanting attention and wanting to be heard, and but it wasn't like my dream. My dream always seemed to want to connect with people, whether it was through sport at school and there was just something, and there is still just something. I don't know how to explain it and quantify it with words, but there is something about being on that stage and being able to sing and that feeling. It's so much more than the ego.
No, it's
and
not
you
the
said
ego.
It in the intro, like it's fighting ego. And I'm really passionate about fighting my own ego and helping people to fight their own, because I think once you can break through that, you can actually find yourself, in this beautiful experience that we get to live.
Yeah, I think it transcends ego and becomes service. It really does. Yeah. So flash forward. you created this incredible group, and Micasa's. Everyone knows Micasa. Even my 12-year-old knows Micasa. When did the interest in the food industry start raising for you?
Well, actually, quite interesting. I find life so fascinating, but we're in this house that I lived on the couch. This cousin of mine, his name is Sergio. He was dating a girl called Hannah, who's now his wife. And they would occasionally, I'll never forget, Bill Graham cookbook, bottle of wine, and they would make, often they would make this pork belly with this apple chutney. Yeah, and they would have, and the potatoes, and they would have a bottle of wine. And very early in my career, matter of fact, right in the beginning, I met this girl who was my girlfriend, who's now my wife. and Coco was there, and we kind of saw Sergio and Hannah kind of living this type of life, and we looked at it and we were like, that's so cool.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
And yes, exactly. Yeah. And so, we began, buying a cookbook and buying a bottle of wine, and then saying, "What shall we cook?" And it was, our breakaway, because when these streets came out, my whole life transformed to something I'd never and could never prep for. The level of attention that I was receiving, and I guess the speed that my life was running at, it completely went, crazy at that time. So we would spend a lot of our time at home cooking and just chilling, and it was our way to kind of connect and our way to disconnect as well. So when you ask me a question like that, I think that it really started because of our relationship. When I look back at it, it was our way of spending time together. And up until this day, it's really what food has always been about. I think along the way, what happened was I was renting this apartment, and we were cooking at home, and we made I think it was like a roast chicken or something like really simple, and it was the era of hashtags, and we were like, oh, we should post this, and what are we going to hashtag? And then we looked at each other and we said, oh, let's hashtag something's cooking.
I love that.
J something's cooking. And we put it up on my feed and said, hey.
Horrible picture.
Yeah.
Horrible picture.
Delicious roast chicken. Though.
Yeah.
And we posted it, and then we started doing this every week, because we would have like our connects, and we would do it for fun, take some pictures of the food and share it with people online, and this community that I have, and then started to grow this. It's amazing how important we all are for one another.
Oh, exactly.
It's so fascinating how validation from somebody else can encourage you to pursue your dreams.
Exactly.
And that's what it did for me on a personal level. I was like, wow, I can actually connect with people through food as well. I love food. I'm not a chef. I just love cooking, and I've got a girlfriend, and this is what we do for fun, and here's what we cooked this week, guys, and boom. And then all of a sudden they were like, oh my God, he sings, he dances, he cooks, and I'm like, and then we kind of, with momentum, you feel freer to dream. So this whole hashtag something's cooking, fast forward, next thing I knew, it was on the front door of a restaurant in Pretoria. It was on a 3 times best-selling cookbook. It was on a TV show. It was all this crazy. I was cooking next to Marco Pierre White.
Yeah.
And you're not a chef.
And just hopefully he's not watching. But like my thing was like, I can entertain better than this guy. And he would be there making his lobster mac and cheese, and I would come out with my guitar and say, oh, we're quickly going to do this, and put the pan on and then sing a song. And I just loved the aspect of connecting with people and entertaining people. And so that's kind of where it started. And then all of a sudden,
it went crazy from there.
All of a sudden I was wearing a chef's jacket, and I was like, guys, I'm not a chef. And it's been various formats and the whole journey, to dive into it. But it's gone through several forms, I'm really happy with where we're at now.
Yeah. I want to pause there, because I want to understand, how did you two meet, and what was it about him that made you go, this is the guy?
Oh, shucks. Do you want like the PG version of how we met? Or do you want like the real story?
The real story.
This is stories.
Yeah.
I'm giving the real story. So I met Jay through my boyfriend.
Okay.
He was new to Joburg and he didn't really know a lot of people. And so my boyfriend at the time's best friend went to high school with him. And so we thought we'll take him under our wing and get him, accustomed to Joburg. And that's how we met. But that's not how we started dating. We started dating a few years later when he had a dream about me and decided to share that dream with me.
That dream we cannot share.
Okay, no, that's fine.
And we have been together since our very first date.
That's a real love story.
Yeah.
And was food a big deal in your life growing up as well?
Do you know what? I had a horrible, I had a love-hate relationship with food because I am the firstborn daughter in an African household. So it is more of a chore than it is get out all the nice ingredients and no, you got to make sure that chicken's out the freezer before your mom gets home and you're cooking. So my relationship with food, I liked doing it, but when you do it every day or you do it because you have to, you kind of start disliking it. And it was our time together that made me say, I really actually like this when I don't have to do it for a lot of people. That's, I guess, where my relationship with food started. It's that it was a chore and then also you'll do anything for a cute boy.
Exactly. It's got a whole different vibe.
So different when there's wine involved.
Of course. You can't cook without wine. So I want to chat about what happens in COVID because when we start, you really came to the forefront. You were online a lot. And I think, what you said earlier about needing to connect with people and for all of us, knowing there were other people out there going through what we were going through and having shared experiences really kept people going and it stopped a lot of the fear. And food really came to the forefront during those years where we had nothing else to do but cook. And how did you experience that? Well, how did that grow for you in sort of that period of time?
I never saw it the way that maybe, you or other people saw it from that perspective. When you say it now, the first thing that pops to my mind is thank God for food during those times because it allowed us to actually put food on our tables. It was a challenging time, and I guess everybody has a story therein. So this is just my story and our story. But I think at that time, what I do remember now when you shared that was that there was an article on the Sunday newspaper that really shattered my soul. And it said that it listed the 5 most essentials and the 5 most non-essentials. And at the top of the most non-essentials was entertainment. And I thought to myself, and I remember just crying to Coco on that at home and just being like, how on earth is what I do now the most non-essential? People don't understand how important it is. Obviously being a passionate entertainer and being a person who sees that as an ability to lift people's spirits and bring people to the moment. Food in that time was what kept us going. We themed every day. It was meat-free Mondays. It was Taco Tuesdays.
Wing Wednesdays.
Curry Thursdays, which is still the way we set up our home, still according to those themes that were birthed during COVID, because it gave us so much fun at the table. And it also gave us focus, structure, which was important at that time. But what was really amazing was that obviously I couldn't be performing, which is it's just how I make a living. But we could connect by doing these cook-alongs,
online cooking,
creating content to inspire people to say, hey man, I know it's kind of dark out there, but inside we can make our own little world. And I think when I reflect on COVID, I say this with all the love and I guess a respect for that moment in time, but we had such a great time because of food. It was this joy of waking up and what shall we do today, and thank God we had. But a lot of my living came from food, and I guess that's maybe why it came a lot more to the forefront of my content or what people see from the outside.
I think what we saw from the outside was someone who was just keeping the connection going, and I think we all craved that so much,
trying to keep the light going. I think that's the thing. As I arrive at all my concerts and I'm just it's time to switch on the lights. It's time to switch on the love, because I think that's what we need, myself included. And I think that food and all of these tools that we have, even these platforms that we have, is that if you're watching, one hopes that the light inside whoever's watching gets switched on, and that they feel like, I'm going to make a pork belly and apple chutney now, whatever it may be. But these are the powerful tools that we have to I believe, one of the greatest purposes that I think we serve as humans is to be light bearers,
Exactly that. So moving forward, your mom owned a restaurant. So owning a restaurant wasn't a scary idea for you. I mean, you knew what you were getting into. What was it that made you take the step to open Artistry? And what is the story around Artistry?
I wouldn't say that it wasn't scary. I mean, it's extremely daunting because it's not what we do. We want to, and I say we because we've started our own brand, called Coco and J. Then there's Micasa, then there's J something, and now there's Artistry, and there's all these other things that we do. At the heart of it all, what we really love doing is creating moments in time that people can be a part of and connect with themselves and with people that they love. It's about creating spaces where people can live freely and feel good about themselves. So Artistry, funny enough, during COVID, I get a call. I was actually shooting My Kitchen Rules out in the Cradle. And we were shooting, it was during COVID, so we were shooting, what do they call it? All in a camp.
In a bubble.
Yes, it was all in a bubble. Yeah, I can't remember the terms we had in those times. It was a quarantine in a bubble type thing. And I was living out there for about 6 to 8 weeks, I think it was, filming the show. And I was staying at a place called Farmhouse 58 in the Cradle. And the owner's son called me and said, hey man, do you want to open up a restaurant
just
in
like
Sandton?
That.
Yes, he's working on a project. They're developing a hotel, and there is a space for a restaurant. And I said, no, thank you. I had just done 3 years in Pretoria, and I absolutely dreaded that experience because I couldn't control it the way that I wanted to. It was Something's Cooking by Jay in Pretoria was a collaboration with Sun International, but it was a licensing deal. I put my name on the door. I creatively conceptualized the menu, but I didn't run the operations, which at the heart of it is really what a restaurant is. It's running a team. Then he said, come and check it out. And I said, okay, cool. So I remember arriving in Sandton, 22 Fredman Drive, and we walked through this construction building. It's during COVID. I'm not in a position to try and take risks. And we walk on this rooftop, which has got nothing. It's just an empty roof. And he's saying, we could do this here. And anyway, we walked through another room, which was downstairs. And that whole building was an old law firm. And they had a conference room.
Yes.
And the conference room had 100 chairs and a screen. And I said, if I can have this room, then I want to do a restaurant. And he said, we can do this room. And I'm like, great. And then came in my idea of, let's create a cultural platform, not a restaurant. I think let's create a space where stories, because culture, I define culture as stories, and we are here to talk about stories, and I think that's what shapes culture, is how we pass on stories. Let's create a platform that showcases, that celebrates, and that preserves stories, and that is Artistry. Artistry, our definition and our motto is to celebrate, to showcase, to celebrate, and to preserve stories. And it's a 3-tier platform. It's obviously created to celebrate the arts, because I think the arts are a powerful tool to convey stories and to connect with people. So we have the rooftop restaurant. We have the listening bar, which is a really cool space where we do parties and where we do live performances as well. And then we've got the theater, which we also have comedy, movie nights, music performances, talks. We also have an art gallery that only celebrates local arts. So it's a platform where you can come and connect with South African arts, with African arts. And my wife and I, we creatively conceptualize the experience from a food and beverage perspective, and from everything really. Tables, chairs, everything, how the tables are set, what lights we put in the bulbs, what bulbs we choose. It's a passion project, all from pocket. It's something that we absolutely love doing. And it's 3 years old as of today. Yeah,
crazy.
As of next month, actually.
Yeah, crazy. So when Jay comes home and says, we're opening a restaurant, what did you do?
Do you know what? This guy is the king of ideas. We joke about it all the time, and I say to him, you just say it and I'll just follow you.
Okay.
I mean, that's part of the reason why I'm sitting here right now, is because Jay comes up with an idea and he says it, and I'm not a dream killer. That's one thing I don't do. So if you come with an idea, I'm like, okay. And that's exactly what I said. I said, okay.
Okay.
I said, okay. And the planning started. I actually didn't see it for a while. So I couldn't even imagine. When he said it's got 3 levels, I was like, what do you mean 3 levels? And how do you eat at a restaurant with 3 levels? Or is there going to be like a restaurant on every floor? And when we went to go see it, I got it. I understood why he decided to take the risk, because it really is. It's so unique and it's so beautiful. And it feels, it's in the heart of Sandton, but it doesn't feel Sandton. I don't know if that makes sense. It's so real and grounded, and it's a beautiful space. So I'm glad I said, okay.
Yeah.
So how do you create your menu? What was, you've got Portuguese influence in the menu, but how did you two come up with the menu concepts?
The theory or the inspiration behind artistry is relatability.
Okay.
We want to create food that people understand, that people know, and we want to elevate that through subtle little things. Quality, which obviously is at the heart of it, so quality of products. And then subtle little additions that might not even be mentioned in the menu, but just processes of how you actually do it. Might just say sweet potatoes, but the sweet potatoes are roasted and then tossed in a beautiful vinaigrette, or we say cream spinach, but it's blanched. It's not
just any cream spinach.
It's beautiful, and these subtle little things of like, it's just a grilled steak, but there's a beautiful herb butter on top, and it's subtle, but it's always been about anybody, most people that arrive at artistry should be able to browse through the menu, know everything, and say, I'll have the cheeseburger. And then when you get the cheeseburger, you're like, wow, that was so worth my money and my time. Nothing fancy. I think that we, and again, it's really just been inspiration from our home. Coco really does majority of the
experimenting,
the recipe development, and that's what she's really passionate about, and that's what she's done a lot of. Even for my cookbook, most of the recipes were actually developed by her. Just a glorified poster boy.
Today's episode of South African Food Stories is powered by F&B Business. Delivering, dining, or dishing, F&B provides the game-changing financial strategies and tailored business banking solutions to help hospitality businesses grow faster and smarter. F&B Business help changes everything, an authorized financial services provider and credit provider. Let's pause for a moment, because what we're talking about here happens behind the scenes of every successful food business. Your customers never see your cold chain, your sourcing choices, or your supplier standards, but they absolutely experience the choices you make. From strict food safety and cold chain management to traceability and quality control, Bidfood helps protect your brand long before the plate reaches the table. Strong food businesses aren't built on luck, they're built on solid systems and the right partners. Bidfood is one of those partners.
It's a collaborative effort, Thank you.
It is a collaborative effort, and it's also food that we would eat. So there's nothing on the menu that we're like, that's a bit too snooty or a little bit too simple. It's everything that we would cook at home. In fact, everything that's on the menu, we've made in our home once or twice before it goes on the menu.
But it goes back to what you say about connection. You've got to relate, you've got to connect, you've got to be recognized, feel like you belong somewhere. And it's a formula that can't fail.
And also it just takes away this, it's artistry is not about the food. Like, and again, like even food is not about food. It's about who you share it with.
I love
It's
that.
about the moment that you have, I'm a cook that, like, when I'm home and I'm making scrambled eggs, and it's a moment for me, and I sit down and Coco will tell you, like every day, like if I make oats, it's never just let's just make oats. I'm like, every stir is a moment where I can actually connect with myself. And I don't know, there's something very spiritual about cooking. And that's why I go back to what you said, is that food is a love language. It can be a love language if you allow it to be a love language, if you connect, if you allow your spirit to connect with it, because it can be just, I need it, get dinner done, or I need to feed people that I love.
Oh, I love that reframe. That's absolutely
completely different
magic
mindset.
Yeah. Where do you see South African food culture evolving to? Because we have come so far, and it is becoming recognized as some of the most incredible food in the world. Where would you like to see it go?
When you mentioned that, I remember the countless conversations that I've had with David Higgs, my close friend, and obviously my partner in crime on My Kitchen Rules, but really just a great friend of mine. And we've often spoken about South African food and, what is South African food? And I think that, coming from Portugal, if you ask me what is Portuguese, it's very easy to be able to tell you, because it's one sort of culture. It's quite linear in its experiences. And I think that you come to South Africa and you have this diversity. We've got 2 oceans, we've got venison, we've got beautiful farms, we've got it all.
We've got everything.
Which sometimes tends to be, that's why this platform is food stories. It's not just stories, because if we were just talking about stories, we could talk about cowboys, we could talk about anything really, but it's focused. So I think that the biggest challenge that I think we have with South Africa, and I say challenge, it's not in a harsh way, but I think it's just about actually being able to find a point where everybody relates. And that's really hard. If we talk about South African food, and we're speaking about malva pudding, we're speaking about one very small aspect of South African food. If we are speaking about shisanyama, we're speaking about another angle of it. There's so much diversity here, and we've had so much a diverse influence in who we are as a people. You talk about Cape Malay, you talk about another part of South Africa. So I think that and when you look at food, you look at Spanish food, you look at French food, you look at Mexican food, it's very easy to identify.
Yes.
And I think the biggest challenge, which might be the actual beauty of it all, is that South Africans, it's about gathering. Whether it's around a drievoet, whether it's around a braai, whether it's around a pot of curry, whether it's around, it's all moments of gathering. Whether it's the plate of food that is available on the side of the road, whatever it may be, they all convey such beautiful moments of gathering. And that's what I think, when I think South African food, I think it's quite challenging. If we were to open up a South African restaurant,
you can't really.
Which side do you take, right?
Yeah.
You can't not do mopane worms, but now you can't put that on the menu, or you can, you want to do pap, but then people also like that. So it's the diversity that is our beauty. And I think it's one of the very unique things about South Africa is there's so much beauty in our diversity.
It really is.
And flavor.
And flavor.
And the flavor is so it's so unique. It's so signature. Yeah. So advice for somebody watching this who goes, I want to open a restaurant. What would you say to them?
Don't do it, Mabel.
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
I'll leave that one to you.
I think that time is precious. I think that one of the biggest mistakes that humans make is that they assume that they have time. And I think that what you must do is to be really convicted by your spirit as to what you want to do with your time. So if you've gone through that step, which is, I would say, step 1, and you come out of that whole process, which is a really important process. It's not just what do I want to do?
Yeah.
Going through, my time is valuable. I don't have a lot of time. I only have one life. What do I want to do with my time? I want to open up a restaurant. And if you come out looking at all the other options that there are in life, and you come out convicted on the other side saying, I really would love to do a restaurant, then I would say, step 1 done. Then I think the step 2 for me would be, there are many restaurants, right? And people's money and time is an extremely valuable asset that I think we all understand, is that no matter how much money you have, whether you have 10 Rand for a meal or you have 1,000 Rand for a meal, it's still valuable to you, especially if you're eating out, right? If you're eating in, maybe you'll just do a bit of scrambled eggs and potatoes or whatever it may be, or pap and cabbage, whatever it may be. You'll do what you need to do because, But if people are eating out, which is the restaurant business, I think you need to think about how valuable it is for your consumer, and the decisions, the multiple decisions that they have, or options rather, that they have to make their ultimate decision. I mean, you just need to walk into a mall or walk down Parkhurst or walk in Cape Town to understand how difficult of a decision it is ultimately to actually choose one place for me to go and spend my 500 Rand or whatever it may be. So you need to understand the landscape of the whole thing, is that there isn't a shortage of restaurants. And I think that's really important to understand when you're getting into this business, is that there isn't necessarily a high demand for restaurants. There is a desire to be able to go out and have a good plate of food. And I think with that said, I think that step 3 would be then think about how you can create a unique experience. Because I think ultimately, when you are choosing with your money, am I going to go to A, B, or C? There's going to be something that's probably not to do with how you do your broccoli or how you grill your steak or where your steak is from. That's going to be the deciding factor. We eat out a lot, and one of our favorite restaurants in Joburg, my favorite restaurant in Joburg, is a place called Glory in Parktown North. No signage. No menu, no wine list. You sit down and they say, do you have any allergies? No, we don't. Okay, would you like a glass of wine? Yes, please. Red or white?
Nice.
Red.
It's so
boom,
cool.
It just comes, and the whole food, because I don't have to think. And I'm actually going out because I want to eat some delicious food. I want to be with my wife.
I want to be fed.
So that place takes my money, right? And then Coco says, look, let's go and celebrate. So then we say, you know what? Tortellini di Oro in Oaklands. We shall go there for our celery salad and our little bit of melanzane that we love, and the pistachio ice cream, Or we want to feel fancy. So let's go to Marble and we go and have a beautiful, plate of food that we love there every time, So again, you need to think about like, what moment are you servicing? Because ultimately, eating out is a very privileged moment.
It really is.
For human beings. So, I could go on and on and on.
No, it's okay.
I think that there's a step journey to understand. And then obviously comes the other side of things, which is understand that this is a business, man. And the margins in restaurant business are not very high. And I think that you need to pay attention to every single detail, whether it's how your stock is preserved and looked after, whether it's how your staff is nurtured, whether it's how people earn, whether it's, all these little things, breakages. Understand the whole ecosystem of a restaurant, because it's not just, I want to open a restaurant. So,
How do you choose your team?
We actually chose our team from social media, because I figured that if you are following me, it means that you obviously passionate about what I do and that you are connected to some degree to what I do. Our head chef, Sihle at Artistry, came from my Instagram.
She slid into Jay's DMs.
Slid in the DMs.
And now we adore her. She's incredible, and she's grown so much over the last 3 years.
Phenomenal. He's filming us, but Rowan is a friend of ours who we've been mentoring for the last 7 years, and him and his brother are part of a duo they called JM. They're from PE and they're music producers, and he's extremely passionate about building brands. And during COVID, he said, I want to learn photography, so we bought a camera, and now he runs Artistry's brand, and he operates, the whole consumer experience, connects partners, commercial brands to the business. So we choose people based on a whole bunch of different things, but ultimately I think that for me it's it's a gut feel, it's a heart, it's emotive feeling. It's not a qualifications platform necessarily. It's more about a passion and a love for it, And then obviously there's the other formalities, that systems that are in place to get people into your team. But I'd say that at the heart of it is really, if you connect with what we do and if you love who we are, then hit us up. And if you can make a decent coffee, then let's come join the team.
And you can scramble an egg.
I think he's actually pleading if anyone's watching. He really wants someone who can make a decent coffee.
No, it's all, we are in the process of building. So I always encourage, if anybody is watching that wants to be in the food and beverage space and wants an opportunity, please reach out to us on our social platforms. And if we can, we would love to collaborate with people that are passionate about
Yeah, if this discussion talks to you.
Resonates, yes, exactly.
And I was going to ask you, what guides you? I think you've answered that question, but it does seem that you have this instinct for everything you do, and it seems to have served you really well.
I guide me.
Yeah.
Not my body, not my mind, me.
Your heart guides you.
I guide me.
Yeah.
We can call it our heart, we can call it our spirit, we can call it, it's just semantics, but ultimately, I'm in control of my life, and it's many different aspects of life that guide me. But nature is a beautiful one.
How important is it for you to find the right financial partner when it comes to building a restaurant or building a restaurant legacy?
So, actually quite interesting that F&B is a partner to the show, because down the road from artistry is F&B and R&B. And the CEO at the time, Jacques, walked from his office when I told him we were opening up a restaurant to come and check it out. And he said to me, if you know him, he's such a cool guy. And he said, we're going to support you. You tell me what you need, and, we'll be here and we'll make sure that we support you. And how important is it? I mean, if you want to start a business, you really need to make sure that from a financial perspective, you've got people, I use specifically the word people, that can show you that they care. I take account that I probably had a privileged position in that moment where I was speaking to the CEO. Not that I knew him extremely well, but for some odd reason, I think he showed interest. And that moment for me was where I said to my partners, I'd really love to build this business with F&B. And I know that this may sound like an absolute, marketing stunt, but they have been, to say the least, integral at us being able to dream. We just renovated our floors for the first time with the little bit of profits that we've made with that business. We redid our walls, So it's really important that whoever it may be, there's many different doors that you can knock on, but till this day, I think not only has the bank or the financial supply or a provider, advisor, been able to help us run our business, but I think that they've also shown artistry specifically a lot of love through bringing staff there, through even helping us tell stories there. They've actually documented the platform quite a bit. So they even put billboards up once without us asking, saying, artistry, we are proud of you. And I was like, wow, man. And again, these are just my blessings that I count, but it's extremely important to say the least. If you want to get a house, if you want to buy a car and you need money to be, whatever it may be, whatever your ambition is, it's really important that you get together with people that you feel connected with and that you feel that they care.
Yeah.
And that's what we felt specifically with regards to F&B. And it's honestly just a miracle that they are brand partners to the show.
Yeah. What financial legacy or stories, learnings do you want to pass forward to your children?
It feels like a tricky question. Maybe tricky is even the wrong word. I didn't grow up with much. 5 rand to me was like, yo, I'm balling. Yeah, and if I had the ability to actually go and buy a new T-shirt, it was like, wow. My kids are growing up in what I would call my miracles. Yeah. And so there's this hybrid balance of wanting to show them that it's precious, but also there is this desire in me to say, let's do it.
I love that.
Let's enjoy it.
Go
because,
out,
man, we work hard. There's so much glamour attached to what we do, but at the end of it, like, it's so much hard work what we do, So I want to teach them a little bit of like a hybrid of, if you have it, nurture it, but please enjoy it, because time is so precious. There's an importance to save, but there's also an importance to use. That if it's a steak, you feel like, man, go and treat yourself to that steak. And if you care about yourself, make sure it's a good quality steak, because that's a moment in time. So I want to teach them both sides. It would be very nice of me and politically correct for me to say I want to teach them to save and look after every penny that they have. And yes, please, they must, But I also enjoy spoiling my kids. And I don't know what impact that has on their upbringing, but hey, it makes me happy. I think it makes them happy. And I think that they grow up in a household that will teach them the more important foundational rules.
It's a healthy balance. I really think that kids mimic us, they don't listen to us. So you can tell them all the right things to do, but they watch what you do and they see your hard work and they see what it took to get there.
Yeah.
And I think the respect comes. The understanding comes.
That, yeah.
I really do.
I believe that too.
And gratitude.
Yes.
Don't forget gratitude.
Yeah.
Got to be grateful for it.
And while we're on the subject of kids, what do your kids eat?
Look, I've got very different children. I think that's how it is, all the kids are never the same. When I first became a mom, I had this obsession of making meal prep stuff and putting things in little tubes and doing all this steaming of the veg, and all of the things that I put effort into making were spat out, and all the things that were randomly on the table when the adults were eating were the things that were eaten. So I stopped very quickly making separate meals. And one of the best things we've done is we all eat the same thing. Everything, even if you don't like it. I've got what's this kind of eater that can't tolerate the smell of bananas, and then I've got this person that scoffs down blueberries and strawberries and eats fruit until it's coming out of her ears. They're so different, but it's still a moment for us. We also don't like yelling. So when you're full, you're full. I have a lot of trauma from finish your food syndrome.
Yes,
and so we don't want to give them that kind of trauma around food. So eat as much as you can, but then the kitchen closes. So that's a big rule. Eat what you can. If you're full, it's okay, but then kitchen is closed. You'll eat again tomorrow. But they are very different. My one child likes spicy curries, and then I've got this bougie child that just likes sushi. So they're all very, very different.
They're all different.
Yeah, they are.
It's lovely. So what lessons would you give to those in the hospitality and the restaurant industry if they want to up their game and connect more deeply with their patrons?
Everything is a journey. Everything. If you get to wake up, it's the beginning of your journey of what we call a day. And you go through this journey. And I think that from when people interact with your brand starts the journey, whether it's when they arrive at your website and they are trying to book a table, the journey has begun, whether it's content they've seen online that makes them drool or make them think, oh my God, that artist is going to be there. Yes, I want to be there. And then there's a set menu designed and then they're like, yeah, okay, I'll head to the website. Think about the consumer journey, because ultimately you have to understand where people actually arrived at your front door, which is not at your front door, and when they left your house. It's the same. When people arrive and we're at home, we think about, okay, when you arrive, then there's the welcome drinks and there's that and there's the music playing and this and that. You think about the consumer journey. And I think that that's really what a restaurant needs to think about, is how do we tailor a really wonderful consumer experience from tip to tail. What do you call it? Tip to tail, huh? Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. From point A to B. You need to work that experience and think about every part of it all, not to say that we have perfected every aspect of it, but if you break it down and you say, oh, great. So now what is on the table? Do you put salt and pepper on the table? Do you put a flour on the table? How do you set your table? When the waiter arrives, what does the waiter say? When the waiter you've brought you your food, and then when does the waiter return? When you're leaving, how does the bill arrive? What do you think? All these little touch points. How does the place smell? When I go to the bathroom,
the lighting.
How's the lighting? You must get granular on your business in order to find the little moments that you can tweak, that can actually make people say, wow, did you see their plants? I love the plants. And then they leave and they're like, this is the best restaurant ever because of the plants, or did you hear how that person answered the phone? Or
it's the little
all
things.
These things, the music, we curate the music. It's one of our favorite parts is curating these dope playlists that people are like, I don't know the song. And they're Shazamming while they're eating their burger, whatever it may be. Or that you have to get granular. and you have to study your business, and you have to figure out how can I improve it little by little.
Yeah. The little things. What advice would you give young chefs listening to this going, I need to do that?
God gifted us with these incredible things that we call our senses. You can have all the education in the world, but man, the nose never lies. The mouth never lies. The hands can just feel a little bit differently than a recipe. The ears, you can listen. Listen, when you hit that steak onto that hot grill or the pan, you can hear it. Make sure that you're hearing what you need to hear. Look, it's what I tell everybody at Artistry. If I see chefs not using their senses, you can't go from the pan section, do a sauce, and then put it on the pass without having tasted it.
Yeah.
It's
bland.
Horrendous. Yeah. Like you should feel, interact, engage with what you're doing. If take out the fries from the fryer, when you put them into the bowl and you've tossed them in the spice, taste it. Yeah. Make sure, so it's just using your senses. It's actually quite simple, but it's actually quite complex, especially for chefs. I think that like as home cooks, maybe we even actually do it more often than chefs do it, because it's a whole operation and there's a buzz and there's a go, but slow it down as much as you can and use these God-given senses that you have as a chef, because they're so valuable.
Yeah, love that. On a lighter note, what do you love eating on a Sunday morning together?
Oh, it's so easy. Yeah. Sometimes I regret it, but it's we make pancakes on Sunday.
Every Sunday.
Jay's making protein pancakes now because we're trying to...
For the games.
How are you making them?
We're trying to get lean.
Eggs, oat flour.
Bit of whey powder.
Which one?
Whey powder.
Protein powder.
Some cheese yogurt.
There is Greek yogurt.
Yes, and everything.
Delicious.
Try cottage cheese.
Cottage cheese also is
a little
cool.
bit moist, moisture. Yeah.
I think cottage cheese is really tired right now.
It is. It's been done today.
He's crying. He's like, "Can I get a break? Please go back to Avon toast. Leave me alone."
But that Greek yogurt that we buy, what's it called again?
The gourmet Greek.
Gourmet Greek.
Best.
Apparently, it's the only Greek yogurt in South Africa.
It really is.
Authentically Greek yogurt.
And it has
they don't pay me,
protein.
but like, shout out.
But I mean, if you're interested, gourmet Greek.
They play an immense role in our lives.
No, I only buy gourmet Greek. It's just the best thing.
But it's pancakes. Pancakes without fail. Whether I'm feeling well or not, my kids don't care. We're having pancakes.
I love that.
Maple syrup, peanut butter.
It's perfect. It's
so
perfect.
good.
It really is.
Okay.
And a coffee. Oh my God.
Yeah. Guys, thank you so much. I loved our conversation. I loved getting under the persona, into the humanity of who we all are. And I love your story. And I think you're just going to take so many people along your journey with you. And who knows where it's going to go, but it's going to go well.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity to share,
Thank you.
Stories are
so important.
Yeah, they're really, I think we were talking off air, but just talking about the importance of stories and the impact that they've had on humanity. And I'm really proud of you guys for carrying the baton of creating more stories, especially around food, because food has had such, from the birth of fire came connection.
That's it.
And around fires, stories were told. And around fires, food was cooked.
Yeah.
And I think it's really special what you guys are doing. And it's an absolute honor to be here next to a human being that I would die for. So, and to talk about food, which we love. So it's so nice. Thank you for the time and the opportunity.
Thank you so much. A huge thank you to our sponsors, F&B Business, the help behind unstoppable businesses. Ready to up your food, beverage, and hospitality business game? Whether you're catering or running a hotel, F&B has a cash flow game plan that can help streamline your business. F&B Business help changes everything. An authorized financial services provider and credit provider. Before you go, a final thanks to Bidfood and the South African Chefs Association for supporting South African food stories. Bidfood has learned that what really builds a brand isn't what you say about yourself, it's what others say about you. Because when the right stories travel, the food service community gets stronger, and that is why they are so proud to support SA Food Stories. Please don't forget to hit subscribe, leave a review, and share.